Right. All right. Let me get my devices going here. Good morning, Cityside. Come on. Good morning. Listen, you got to know that I just came here to Chicago. It's so great to be here from Phoenix, Arizona, where I was for the last week with the Fellowship of Affirming Ministries, headed by Bishop Yvette Flunder, who, if you don't know, is an amazing voice for justice in the world. And so it's a room full of about 150 classical Pentecostals who are all having some new thoughts. How about that? That's a great place to be. So I still got a little bit of that Pentecostal shout in me. So if I get a little enthusiastic on you, just back me up. There you go. That's what I'm saying. It's still not quite out of me yet. You understand? It is so great to be here. I want to thank Reverend Amy for the invitation. I want to just that music was incredible, just incredible. And we got to give a shout out to the viola player. I'm sorry, I missed your name. Laura? Nora. The viola player. Listen, I played viola for about 12 years of my life. The backbone of every good arrangement is the viola player. Let's just tell the truth. the silent but important part of the orchestra. I've got jokes about that, but that's not what I'm here for. I am David Alexander. I bring you greetings from Spiritual Living Center of Atlanta in Atlanta, Georgia, my spiritual home, and Centers for Spiritual Living, where I do serve as the Leadership Council chair. I want you to know that, as the introduction said, I am committed to a radical spiritual awakening in humanity that calls upon both our moral imagination and our personal development. Our moral imagination about the imperative that we have to do the work out in the community, and our personal development, our inner work, our consciousness work, our awareness, and our healing. And so the title today is Now is the Appointed Time. This covers chapters 5 and 6 in the book that you have been reading, The Magic of Intuition. And that line just jumped out at me in chapter 5. Now is the appointed time. Now is the appointed time. I believe that now is the appointed time to claim the radically inclusive nature of our teaching. I believe that now is the appointed time to claim the radical healing power of our teaching. Now is the appointed time to apply the wisdom of who we are to a world that is so divided, confused, and at war with itself. Make no mistake, our teaching is needed in the world. Your consciousness is needed in the world. The consciousness that you carry is needed in the world. If I was back in Phoenix with my Pentecostal friends, I would say, look at your neighbor and say, neighbor, your consciousness is needed in the world. You guys are doing all right. We're just a 2 and 4 clap away and a tambourine. Anybody got a tambourine? We'll be there in no time. That's it. Make no mistake, the ills of the world, and there are many that the world suffers from today, are themselves not going away. And they will get, I believe, louder before they get quieter. I do believe we will see some darker days. I know that's not a New Thought thing to say, but give me some space today. We'll make it right by the end, okay? I do believe we'll see some darker days before we see light. I don't mean to harm or frighten you. I don't mean to shaken your New Thought optimistic sensibilities today. But I do mean to be real and to be blunt about where we are. Is that okay? If I can be blunt about it, it was said in our in the time together. My shoe is untied. That is not good. Right. If I don't Pentecostal jump, I'll be okay. It was said last week when we were in Phoenix that it's midnight in America. But if we're going to really tell the truth, we take a close look at our watch. It's 12:01, folks. It's 12:01. But take heart, all my New Thought, kumbaya, loving folks. Take heart. The isms of the world are nothing more than the thought forms expressing as reality. And the greater truth is that consciousness is always in action. This is part of our teaching, and it is both a blessing and a curse. A blessing because we know that what the mind can do, the mind can undo. but a curse because we know that we are in the lived experience of the consciousness that has gone before us. And there is a consciousness in the atmosphere that has gone before us, which, if we tell the truth about it, is seeking to dismantle our rights and treat the majority of us like second-class citizens. And I say us because on the surface, now I might not look like the one who's the target. I don't look like the one who's the target. To be honest about it, I'm a cisgendered, heterosexual white male with, a decent bank account by most standards. By most accounts, I look like the one who's actually the problem that we've been suffering from for the last 400 years. But I still say us, because I believe in the principle of oneness. I believe that, as our founder declared, that there is one body with many expressions. I believe that there is no separation between me and anyone else in the world who's suffering. And if I believe that, then I cannot separate myself or hold myself distinct from the pain of the world. You see, I don't believe in a theology of privilege. I believe in a theology of liberation. Yes, you can clap for that. I believe, as Dr. Ernest Holmes said, that the ultimate goal of life is to be a complete emancipation from discord of every nature, and that goal is sure to be attained by all. By all. That is a liberation theology notion, that emancipation is the goal, and it's sure to be attained by all. But, beloved, surely it won't be attained by all if I hold my freedom, my consciousness, as a vested right and byproduct of my own consciousness, thereby distinguishing myself from all others who have yet to awaken to their true nature, as we would say in the South, bless their hearts. They just don't know yet. They just haven't woken up yet, bless their hearts. We say it all the time. Well, it sounds like a blessing, but it's not. Somebody said, if you're in Atlanta and somebody says, bless your heart, they have another message for you. That's just their kind way of delivering it. So we watch the news and we hear about the other, and we hear about the destruction that's going on and the people who seek to do damage to our collective humanity. We just look at them and we say, well, bless their heart. But I can't hold it as a vested, sacred, separate right of my own consciousness. If I believe in oneness, then I have no choice but to hold myself close and connected to all that is around me. Doing otherwise is spiritual arrogance. It's hubris of the worst kind, and it's a direct violation of this principle of oneness. But let me get back on track. I was given an assignment today. It's chapters 5 and 6. I don't want to miss my assignment as a guest speaker. Don't miss the assignment, right? You don't get invited back if you miss the assignment. Chapter 5 says that the source of our healing is found in paying close attention to the signals of the body, right? The symptoms, the things that are going on. Chapter 5 goes at great length to say, well, if it is, the pain is in your heart, or if it's in your back, or if it's in your knee, or if you're holding judgment or anger or resentment, then these are the things that might be manifesting, right? Of course, Louise Hay took that notion and that work in our movement and built an entire healing empire out of it. How many people had the little blue book? The little blue book. And it, you got the sniffle, you got a creak, you got a misstep somehow, you just look, let me just look it up. The doctor said this, so let me see what Louise Hay says. And there's an affirmation that you can apply to that thing. And so the whole notion is to pay attention to the symptoms in the body. And intuition will guide us not only to pay attention to those signals, but then to listen to what the wisdom that Spirit has for us in relationship to those things. Am I on track with that? Now is the appointed time. It says, today is the day of amazing prosperity. This affirmation would bring an immediate change to the world affairs. Today is the day of amazing prosperity. What is prosperity? What does it mean to live a prosperous life? What does it mean to live in a prosperous world? And I would suggest to you that it means something more than simply driving the car you want or living in the place that you want or any of those material things. I would suggest to you that true prosperity is living from a place of wholeness in which not only are all of your needs met, but you are connected to a sense of wellness and well-beingness in which you lack for nothing. You lack for nothing. And you are connected to everything. And so what would it look like for the world to be living in a consciousness of prosperity? It would lack for nothing. And yet we see the growing gap between the haves and the have-nots. And so there must be something still in the body that we need to pay attention to. How am I doing with that? The end of that chapter says the body can be remolded by treatment, which is clear vision and affirmation. The body can be remolded by treatment. Charles Fillmore and Mary Baker Eddy and Emma Curtis Hopkins, they all had physical healings as a result of practicing this teaching. The body can be remolded. But if we believe, as Ernest Holmes told us, that there is one body with many expressions, then I would invite us to shift our consciousness away from your individual body, and let's talk for a moment this morning about the one body, the body of humanity, the body of the experience that we're having in this world right now, that body, the social body, can be remolded by treatment, clear vision, and affirmation. Chapter 6 tells us that we have the power to bring the future into the now, and that the future is anchored in that affirmation, in that vision. As a faith body, we affirm our oneness with divine peace, with wholeness, with prosperity, all as our own birthright. And these are beautiful and true and valuable tenets of our faith. But the question on my mind today is, how do we apply this affirmative and declarative idea and faith approach to the hour that we find ourselves in? I'm not sure if you noticed, but now is the appointed time. I'm not sure if you've been paying attention lately, because I know some of us don't like to watch the news. Some of us think that's a spiritual practice. I'm just saying, don't look at anybody right now. I don't want to call anybody out. But now is the appointed time to decide if oneness is really what we stand on. Now is the appointed time that this universal truth that makes our own healing possible is the same universal truth that makes the healing for everything that we are experiencing right now possible. Now is the appointed time to make that declaration, to stand on that, and to allow the body to be remolded as a result of that affirmation. Are you hearing me? Now is the appointed time to awaken the prophetic and radical implications of our teaching. And at the surface level, one could view the wisdom of our teaching to be solely the personal philosophy meant for the individual alone. But this would be a mistake and a violation of this oneness. While our teaching is always applied at the personal level, always applied at the personal level. You know, when you read the directions of something, it's like apply, right? Apply liberally. How about that? Ooh, that's a good sermon title right there. Hallelujah. I'm going to follow that one up. Apply liberally, right? To the affected area. How about that? To the affected area. Repeat as necessary. Come on, somebody. Apply liberally. Oh, that's a word right there. And so while our teaching is always applied at the personal level, it has always had social implications. It is all from the beginning. Some people think that this whole social justice movement within our teaching right now, and there is a movement, they think it's new. It's not new. It's not new. New Thought was at the foundation of the philosophy of Marcus Garvey. It was at the foundation of Father Divine in New York City. It's at the foundation of so many people. I could go on and on. How about William Walker Atkins in 1905 in his book called The Principles of New Thought, when he said that when oneness is realized in the heart of man, injustice will cease to express itself. When oneness is realized in the heart of man, and we forgive him for saying man, it's just like Florence did. We know they meant humanity. These authors wouldn't survive today, would they? Oh, they would get some cancel culture on them. They'd publish that book, and they'd say, nope. So we got to help them a little bit because we love them. When oneness is applied, is realized in the heart of man, injustice, or in the heart of humanity, injustice will cease to express itself. Now, the truth is, I don't know if this moment is any different. Maybe this hour isn't any darker than hours we have experienced before. Perhaps we're just more aware. Though I hesitate to make that claim as my own truth, because too often in my own personal journey of awakening, what has happened, that my awakening to what has happened socially in our world has been met with a stern and sobering recognition from my black and brown brothers and sisters and siblings who simply look at me and say, welcome to the party. You're late. And so, in reference to the claim that we make as a teaching, with access to intuition and guidance of the universal wisdom to harness our own healing, this is what I want to know today. In reference to the idea that paying attention to the symptoms of the body and leaning into the intuition by looking at it, not pretending like it's not there, not ignoring it, not gaslighting it, not new thought lobotomizing it. You know what a new thought lobotomy is? All is good all the time. It's just all good all the time. It doesn't mean that that statement's not true. It's just it's the way that we carry it. You understand what I'm saying? So I want to know what it means to the one body that we are all a part of here at Cityside, the one body that we are a part of at Centers for Spiritual Living, the one body that we're a part of at Spiritual Living Center of Atlanta, the one body that we are a part of in humanity. I want to know, what does it mean when we look at the symptoms? To the one body, when the symptoms are that black and brown bodies are in ever-increasing danger. What does it mean to the one body when my now 6'4" black son who, 6'4", help me somebody. The one going to kindergarten in the first week of August is already up to here. I need your, yes, I need your prayers. But my 17-year-old, when he was 10 years old, what does it mean to the one body that he could not play an innocent game of chase in the back alley of where we lived in Lake Oswego of a wealthy neighborhood in broad daylight because his friend had handed him a toy gun made of Legos? What does it mean to the one body that I had to stop watering the garden and look at my son and ask him to go inside because I was afraid that he might become the next Tamir Rice? What does it mean that our school children spend more time in active shooter drills than they do in reading real, honest American history? What does it mean to the one body? Am I doing all right? What does it, if you're uncomfortable, just take a breath. It's okay, I'll bring it around. What does it mean to the one body that while they're hiding under their desk, people are actively working to change the words of the textbook so it doesn't say slavery, so it doesn't say whatever it is? What does it mean to the one body when these are the symptoms? What does it mean to the one body when the drinking water in our school isn't safe? What does it mean to the one body when women are stripped of reproductive rights and relegated as second-class citizens again? What does it mean to the one body when our trans saints and LGBTQIA+ community is in the legislative crosshairs of over 27 states right now? What does it mean when these are the symptoms on the body? It means that we are in the felt reality and experience of a consciousness that has gone before. It means that that consciousness is sick, that consciousness is diseased, and it means that this is the appointed time to apply our faith, to apply our practice, and to get to work. It means that now is the appointed time. It means that the moment you accept that you are created in God's image and therefore the vehicles through which God's wholeness is revealed is the same moment that you accept responsibility for any place in the world where that wholeness is not revealing itself. I'll say it again. I'll say it again. It means the moment that you accept that you are created in God's image and are therefore the vehicles through which God's wholeness reaches the earth, means is the same moment that you must accept responsibility for any place in the world where that wholeness is not revealing itself. Now, that doesn't mean that you are responsible for fixing everything. It means that you are responsible for bringing the healing atmosphere to everywhere that you go. It means in reality the reason that you belong to Cityside and take classes and tithe and support this wonderful place, it means the reason you do those things is so that you can get your own healing, you can get your own transformation, you can get your own shift in consciousness, not so that you can hold it for yourself, but so that you can deliver it to those that need it. If there's anybody in here in the 12-step tradition, you understand that you don't have sobriety until you give it away to somebody else. That's step 12. You understand that's what completes the cycle. You don't have it for yourself until you give it to somebody else. It means that we can no longer afford to separate ourselves from the pain of the world. Freedom and liberation come through the hands and the feet of the body of God, which is you. It's what you've been affirming and claiming all along, that you are one with the body of God, that you are one with wholeness, that you are one with peace, that you are one with the prosperity of the universe, the abundance of the universe. You are one, therefore you are a vehicle through which it moves into expression to heal the places where it is not. We boldly claim as Centers for Spiritual Living a world that works for everyone. And the moment that we did that, we had no idea what we were doing. We just thought it sounded pretty. We did. We voted on it over 10 years ago, and we said, ooh, that sounds pretty. That'll bring lots of people because it just sounds nice. It sounds nice. It sounds pretty. But we had no idea what we were actually putting into motion in the universe. Because it is a message, creating a world that works for all and awakening humanity to its spiritual magnificence is an inherently social and justice-oriented message. Right? The previous version that New Thought practiced for many, many years, in particular Centers for Spiritual Living expression of New Thought, is creating a world that works for me and awakening myself to spiritual magnificence, which is fine as a step on the road, as a valuable stop on the journey, but it's not the end of the journey. It's not the sole reason that you're here. Yes, you must awaken yourself to your spiritual magnificence. Yes, you must make a world that works for you so that you can deliver your gifts, so that we can create a better world for everyone. Our thoughts are powerful. Our consciousness is powerful. Our choices of words are powerful, but we cannot Care Bear our way into a world that works for everyone. There's some people here who know what that means. Where are my Care Bear generation? Where are my Gen X people at? What's a Care Bear? We cannot just send love and light from our belly buttons and think it's all going to get better. When we're dealing with racism, when we're dealing with systemic discrimination, when we're dealing with the toxic consciousness of whiteness, if I can call it what it really is, love and light isn't going to cut it, beloveds. We're going to have to roll up our sleeves because oneness without responsibility is cheap privilege. You missed it. Oneness without responsibility is cheap privilege. Now is the appointed time. Let the divine design of my life flash into my conscious mind. Let me see clearly the perfect plan. That's chapter 6. Let me see how to treat and move my feet in the direction of a world that works for everyone. Chapter 6 says, some people always live in the future, and it's daydreaming. They never catch up with the now. Our brother had a big vision and went to a large city where he linked up with opportunities that brought him fame and fortune. The other boy spent time telling people what he would do when he got $1 million. He never got further than his rural audience. You must live fully in the now to make your dreams come true, but always be sure that you are dreaming according to the divine plan. There is a divine design for your life and your subconscious mind, so unless the divine dream Unless the divine dreams the dream, they labor in vain who dream it. Affirm, let the divine design of my life flash into my conscious mind. Let me see clearly the perfect plan. Let us see clearly the perfect plan. Let us see a healing of a world that works for everyone, that runs through me. This is why we need places like Cityside. Because your first responsibility is to get things right in your own consciousness. The first responsibility is to know that you are connected to something bigger than you are, that your healing is available, that your transformation is available, that that's a world waiting for you that works, in which it accesses and taps into the divine gifts of what you are here to bring. But that's not the ultimate goal. The ultimate goal is the emancipation of everything and everybody. Don't think for the sole moment that the reason that you walked into this place was simply to work on yourself. You are part of a divine plan. Because there is a truth in this universe that says hurting people hurt people. But there's a greater truth that says whole people heal people. Whole people heal people. And so when we claim our wholeness, then we become part of the healing of the planet, if you follow what I'm saying. What would happen if we approached social justice issues not from us and them, not from fighting our enemies, not from trying to beat the bad guys, but from a grounded place of wholeness, from a grounded place of oneness, from a grounded place of I know the divine truth that is in me, and that divine truth is not separate from anyone around me. I would no less let my own child go without adequate food, water, and clothing than I would somebody else, because they aren't somebody else. They are me. They are my child. They are my one. They are the beloved. They are the family. They belong. We belong to each other. What would happen if we didn't just sing that we see the face of God in everything, but we actually did everywhere that we went? I'll close with this, and it's a real close, not a Pentecostal close. I've been in training all week, and they get like 3 or 4 close. You know, they say, I'm closing now, and then it's another 10 minutes. And I'm closing now, it's another 10 minutes after that. No, I'm really closing now, and then it's another 10 minutes. They get about 5 close if you're 4 if you're Pentecostal, 5 if you're sanctified in the Holy Ghost Spirit. I'll get one today, and I'll use it wisely. It is this: applying New Thought principles to the isms of the world has the potential to yield solutions on a transformative level never seen before. I believe that with all my heart. But as always, it requires the courage to be radically honest with ourselves to actually do the work. We can no longer afford, if we ever could, the convenient scapegoat of individual consciousness on problems that have systemic and collective roots. Oh, hear this. Taking the diseased manifestations of our collective amnesia, forgetting and not knowing who we are, and making them the responsibility of one individual's consciousness is spiritual gaslighting. I'll say it again because I know you missed it. Taking the diseased manifestations of our collective amnesia and making them the responsibility of one individual's consciousness is spiritual gaslighting. It's like saying if we are collectively not awake to the infinite potential of who we are, and then one person suffers from housing insecurity, one person suffers from inadequate income, one person suffers from or a group of people identified in a certain way, and we say, well, bless their heart. They just haven't awoken to who they are yet. They just need to get their consciousness right. If they took the class that I took, then maybe they would fix it all. Because I believe in oneness. How could you believe in oneness if you think you're separate from them and your individual consciousness saved you from the things that they're suffering from, which are the manifestations of our social amnesia? Now, here's the thing. Like I said, it doesn't mean you're responsible for everything. Social problems and things at the systemic level require collective and social and systemic solutions. That's why getting to the polls is important. Amen, somebody. Amen. Come on, we're gonna try to do it again in Georgia. We helped y'all last time. We helped you real good. But we got work to do. We got an uphill battle there to do it again. We're going to do our part, I promise. We ought to be less concerned about the people when such courageous commitment will offend and scare off, and more concerned about the consequences of those on the margins who we claim oneness with will suffer if we fail to step up to the plate. Because now is the appointed time. The truth is, New Thought was made for this moment, and yet the laws of our teachings have not changed Demonstration is only possible to those who are willing to do the work. We believe that the ultimate goal of life is complete emancipation from discord of every nature. And this goal is sure to be attained by all. Now is the appointed time, and so it is. Let's pray. And so I invite you right there to simply take a breath. Let it go. Let's do that again. Take a breath. I affirm and declare that Spirit is in this place. That Spirit has moved and is moving through the music and the message and the meditation, the consciousness that is seated here. And I affirm and declare that all of the wisdom, all of the inspiration, all of the transformative power necessary has moved in this place today and has landed with each and every one of us in exactly the way that it needs to shift and transform, to inspire and to move, that our body might be transformed by the clarity of our vision and the affirmation of our hearts. I know that each individual knows exactly what to do with this message, knows exactly where to go, knows exactly what the next step might be, and that for the uniqueness of everyone seeing, sensing, and hearing this message, that those answers might be as unique, as individualized, and as personal. It doesn't have to look the same as somebody else. Your intuition will guide you to exactly what your step is, and your step will be an essential part of the collective healing of the planet. The step for Cityside will be an essential part of the collective healing of the planet here in Chicago and beyond. I affirm this, I declare this, I know this to be the truth of what is happening here because God is in this moment. This is its ultimate desire, to fulfill itself as you and as me and as all creation. And in doing so, allowing the love, the healing, the justice, the wholeness to be revealed as the expression of humanity. And so I say yes. Yes to my step. Yes to the step that is Cityside. Yes to the step that is Reverend Amy's. Yes to the step that is each individual here. Yes to the step that is ours to do. I say yes. Yes. And I allow it to be. And so it is. Thank you all. Peace and blessings.